Hey everyone, today we're talking about new housing developments, new planning rules, major infrastructure projects kicking off, and our feature article about what's ahead in 2025 for planning and infrastructure. Welcome to the first Development Adelaide update. So this is a new type of show that I'm trialing for the start of the year. What I'm aiming to do is consolidate all the news that's happening around housing, development, transport and infrastructure around Adelaide and summarize things, maybe provide a comment here and there, and then also include a feature article at the end of the show. Of course, I'm happy to get feedback from you all, so leave that in the comments below. Firstly, let's look at housing and development news so far this year. Earlier in the month, we had a re-announcement of two land releases, the 2,000 homes in Onkaparinga Heights and the 3,000 homes in Manapara, Playford Alive. These have been a part of the state government's housing release plan since 2023 and formally put into a roadmap in 2024. The major milestones that were achieved this time was that the infrastructure deeds were signed for these developments. But as Thomas Kelsall reported in the InDaily website, most of these houses won't start construction until 2026 to allow for things like land division, infrastructure, and road construction to take place. Given that there's so many more milestones to come with these developments, expect these to be in the news again in the coming months. Speaking of new housing, the development at the old West End Brewery received a new suburb name, Southwark. It harks back to a former name for the area before it was consolidated into the suburb of Theberton. Renew USA will lead this development, which will partner with the private sector to build approximately 1,300 homes over the next decade or so. Again, don't expect people to move in until the end of 26 with this one as well. There were also new planning changes, which allows development applications and code amendments to be combined into one application called an outline consent. This process promises assessment timeframe reductions of up to 10 weeks. Shorter timeframes are good news for the current housing crisis, but development should still be rigorously assessed to address issues of traffic and urban design. Speaking of code amendments, there's currently a code amendment that has been submitted to allow for 8-storey housing and mixed-use developments along Richmond Road in Mile End. It's an interesting location for housing, although there's a frequent bus corridor along Richmond Road. More corridor housing is welcome. I'm just not sure that the industrial area of Mile End is the best place to put it. Moving on to news about transport and infrastructure, work is due to commence on the southern part of the Torrens to Darlington project this month in January 2025. This is another major milestone in the project, which provides 2 tunnels and a lowered freeway between Darlington and the River Torrens. The project is due for completion in 2031. Over the summer break, the Tapley's Hill Road and Trimmer Parade intersection, where it crosses the Grange line, was upgraded with new concrete rail sleepers and a new road base. This will allow for smoother journeys on both road and rail, and it was great to see another, albeit small, section of the line receive concrete sleepers, while most of the line still retains the old wooden sleepers from the last century. It was also announced that the Marina Railway Station will receive a $2 million upgrade by the state government. It will include a new shelter, new seating, CCTV, and an information screen. Now, the renter that was included in all the media releases doesn't really show a lot of detail about the final product will look like, as it was looked like it was done at the very last minute. Some media reports have even indicated that the digital display will be an information kiosk. Now, this is not in line with other train stations around the network in Adelaide. It looks more like the digital displays that are provided at one of the bus interchanges or in the city. So hopefully the end result will be much better than that. It should really be in line with other railway stations across Adelaide where you've got the display on top in the shelter. In good news for passengers on the diesel lines to Outer Harbour, Grange and Port Dock and to Belair, the full rollout of the new hybrid diesel engines on the 3,000 class rail cars was completed this week, with 50 rail cars now featuring the new technology. The interior was also updated with USB chargers, LED lighting and new flooring. The bike rail cars will continue to operate on select Belair line services and will feature slightly different seating layout, as you can see in that picture here. Have a listen to just how much more quiet these trains are as they leave Adelaide Railway Station under battery power. There's no doubt that these rail cars are reaching the end of their service life. In fact, already 20 of the existing 3,000 class rail cars will not be upgraded and will be scrapped in the coming few years. The government will have to replace the existing rail cars, and my bet is on new battery rail cars as the battery technology improves and the cost of adding poles and wires for electrification continues to increase. The Henley Beach Road Master Plan was also released this month. So some of the headlines that came out from that media release show that upgrades would include things like trams, piazzas, and a dining precinct. I personally haven't read the master plan at this stage, but hopefully I have more to say about this in the next update. However, it's great that trams are still being considered, even when the current government is not interested in expanding the current network. And one last infrastructure item that I thought was interesting was the Bolivar wastewater treatment plant that's currently receiving $120 million investment by the SA Water Corporation. It's currently processing about 300 million litres per day, but that will increase to 600 million litres, which is a doubling in capacity. Interesting fact about that is that this plant currently processes 70% of Adelaide's sewage, which is quite incredible. All right, other bits and pieces that came out since the start of the year. First of all, there was a ban on junk food advertising on public transport vehicles that covers trams, trains, and buses in Adelaide. There was also an update on the new security screens being rolled out to the bus system across Adelaide, which provides more protection for the hardworking drivers. This came just days after there was a big bus sprawl on New Year's Day, where quite a number of people were arrested. And in good news for people who have healthcare cards, they are now also accepted as a concession card on public transport in South Australia. And now to today's feature article. This article appeared in Daily and was written by Thomas Kelsall. Thomas has been writing a lot of great articles about planning, transport, and infrastructure around Adelaide. So I'd really like to commend Thomas for his hard work on this. His article was called 5 Planning and Development Issues That Would Define Adelaide in 2025. And it covers 5 really key questions that will need to be answered this year, including what will happen with Takari, that project in lot 14, and if the proposed apartments in Glenside will actually reach 20 stories, which is one of the proposals that's been put in as part of a code amendment. So if you want to read the article, a nice long form article, I'll include a link down below in the description. So this has been the first Development Adelaide update. Again, happy to receive feedback on what I can improve, and really looking forward to hopefully releasing the next one in the next couple of weeks. So Text Out today will show some recent photos of the Market Square and Victoria Tower developments in the city. See you next time on Development Adelaide.